guys. So I wanted to talk to you today about Ralph Kiner. When I when I started to do my kind of looking at pre-war stuff, one of the things I wanted to do was not just look at pre-war, but look at pre-tops. Um, Ralph Kiner does have a tops card, just one, 1953. It's actually one of the cards I picked up in Strongsville this year. I kind of went looking for his tops card, which I'll show you here in a minute as I kind of show you some other Ralph Kiner cards. But I wanted to look at people like Ralph Kiner who have cards that predate. I don't yet have any of his uh, Bowman or Leaf cards. It's in the it's on the want list. But I have some other stuff that I'd just like to show you. But I wanted to take a minute and just talk about Kiner and who he is as a player and what um, he's kind of the definition of one type of Hall of Fame player. You know, there's kind of two broader categories of Hall of Famers. There's Hall of Famers who have long careers and have they're great over a long period of time. You know, my favorite player growing up and one of my main PCs today is Rickey Henderson. Rickey Henderson is in some ways kind of the definition of that. He had a very long career, but he was good throughout his career. He still had very high numbers clear into the end of his career. So much so that, and this isn't about Rickey Henderson, but when he stepped away from Major League Baseball, that was just because teams wouldn't sign him, so he went to play in minor league baseball instead, and just continued to just do his thing. So that's kind of one type of Hall of Fame career. The other type of Hall of Fame career are the players who had short careers but had very high peaks. Ralph Kiner fits very much into that category. He only played 10 seasons because of injury. Toward the end of the season, beginning of his career, he was in the war, so his first couple of years that he might have been able to play Major League Baseball were not. He wasn't able to play because of that. And then toward the end of his career, he suffered some injuries and really tailed off toward the end of his career, and then stopped playing after 10 years, which is the limit with pro players as far as making it into the Hall of Fame. And so, what kind of a peak do you have to have the minimum amount of years required and still make it into the Hall of Fame? Well, Ralph Kiner at least helps us to answer those questions. Now, you could talk about him defensively. He was a great defensive player. He led the league in multiple defensive categories over multiple years, thrown out and double plays caused and things like that from outfield. So he was a good fielder. He was a good player. But where Kiner really shined his entire career. The very short time of his career was in home runs. In When it comes to home runs, now I have to say that it should be mentioned that they did some things in Forbes Field to kind of shorten. They called it Kiner's Corner, and so they kind of shortened some of the field. It was traditionally a very large field, and so it was hard. It was a hard field to hit home runs in, but they kind of shortened it, not just for him, but there was another player who escapes me right now, and somebody will know and say his name in the comments, but they they kind of shortened a section of the field to make it easier. It was still longer than a lot of other fields, but wasn't as long as it had been traditionally. So what do you do? Actually, Kiner walked into that. That wasn't for him, but it ended up benefiting him greatly because for 7 years, Ralph Kiner led the league in home runs. Now, you can't do that if your only advantage is playing in Pittsburgh because, of course, you play half your season in other parks. And he was always great. He led the league 7 years in home runs. Okay, that's a huge deal to have led the league in home runs for that many years in a row. And it wasn't like he wasn't one of these pitchers that was just swinging at everything. You know, like a lot of the modern day power hitters get kind of some of the old timers don't really like the way that they swing because they kind of home run or nothing. But he wasn't home run or nothing. 3 of those same seasons he led the league in bases on balls, and one of those seasons he led the league in intentional walks. I mean he was also leading the league at least 1 or 2 of those years. He led the league in like extra base hits, and so he was a hitter. He was a power hitter, but he was just an incredible um, just an incredible player. He led the league for 7 consecutive years in the percentage of home runs to at bats. He still ranked number 10 all time in that category, which is pretty significant when you think about it. Of course, a couple of those are currently playing. Shohei Ohtani is actually ahead of him now, but when he retired, I think he was second when he retired after Babe Ruth, if I'm remembering that correctly. But either way, even today, 10th place. So he was just a big hitter, and so you can imagine, like, this is the kind of player, if you want to have a short career and want to have that career be worthy of the Hall of Fame, this is the kind of thing that you can do, and you can hit home runs and hit lots of them and lead the league for 7 years. Actually, I think 2 of those years he tied with Johnny Mize, which is just kind of another funny thing because Johnny Mize, when I went to Strongsville this year, and this isn't a Strongsville video, with more of those to come, I'm sure. But when I went to Strongsville, I went looking specifically for I wanted lots of cards, of course. You want to get what you can, but there were 2 cards I was looking for in particular. One was the 53 Ralph Kiner, the other one was the 52 Johnny Mize, and I was really, if I came back with those 2, I was happy. And it was just kind of in doing some research for Kiner that I realized how much their parts of their careers really kind of were side by side. So it was just kind of interesting. So here, this is what you have: this player who's a great home run hitter. He's great defensively. Sadly shortened his career. I can't imagine what his numbers would have been had he been able to stay healthy and continue on into his career. With that all being said, I just want to show you some cards, some things that I've picked up. These are things I picked up over the last couple of months. This is not recent pickup stuff. But this is kind of the way I'm trying to approach these videos. Like, I'll pick up 1 or 2 items for a player, and then I'll do a video on them, and then hopefully just kind of show some interesting things, and hopefully just everyone just kind of enjoys what they see. So I'll stop this here. I'm going to turn some things around, get some things set up, and then we'll show you some Ralph Kiner cards. All right, so as I mentioned, I have his 53 Topps card that I picked up at Strongsville this past year. Great looking card, great image of him. I really like this. Just a great image, which is important. Of course, artist rendition, but in the 53 Topps set. I do have one non-playing days card. It's just Shakey's Pizza. I've seen some others post these and thought, or show these on their videos. And I thought, I'm going to pick up a few of these. So I've got some of these just of Pirates. I don't have any more, but just some. I picked them all up from a seller out of Washington, so that's kind of neat. Now, if you look up his PSA set registry for one of the registry guys, I don't use the registries, but sometimes it's nice just to look at them to see what cards I might be missing of a player. But if you look at the set registry, his 48 Bowman and Leaf, those are considered his rookie cards, which is fine. I realize why they choose these kind of bigger sets to use as rookie cards, but they're not his earliest card. His earliest card is this one right here. I believe this is his earliest card. I could be wrong. If I am, please correct me in the comments. This is his homogenized bread card. Just a blank back, and just a nice looking card. A good image of him swinging the bat. I do have a red man. This was one of the more recent pickups. This is my first red man card. And this is kind of one of the reasons why I wanted to get into some of these players like Kiner, is I wanted to be able to pick up some of these sets that are not that aren't tops, but also be able to pick up some that are not the Bowman and the Leaf. I will show you the back of that one. Probably most of you have seen these cards. This is, of course, as you notice, this is without the tab. I have one of his exhibits. Shout out to Scott over at Stukes. Great. Of course, he's got a fantastic exhibit collection. I've got 3 or 4 in my collection now. This is the Kiner. This is a blank back. This isn't one of the postcards or anything, but I really like this image. probably just hit a home run. One of his many. And then just one more to show you. I saw, again, another shout out to Jason over at Everyday Card Collector. He showed a pinup, and I wanted to look and see if they had any of Kiner, and sure enough, they do. And this is Ralph Kiner's pinups, and if you look really closely, somebody did that. They pinned it up. It has holes kind of throughout a few different places. And on the back of this, signs and signals. I kind of like these cards that have this sort of thing in the back. He asked a question on his video. Jason showed one of these the other day and asked, is this considered a card? And I guess I don't know, and I don't. Whatever you want to call it, you can call it. I love having this in my collection. It's a great, larger portrait of Ralph Kiner. And these are not in there now, but these will eventually go into my binder with Pirates. I started to put together. I showed a couple weeks ago my Manny Sanguians, but I'm going to use that to actually put all of my Pirates cards in there, at least a lot of them from pre-war and so forth, because it has the different size pocket pages. And so someday I'll show you that as I kind of get it more put together. But that was all for today. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed some Red Man. I hope you all had a good Thanksgiving. I really had a good one. Enjoyed seeing some good content, and just appreciate all of you. Thank you for watching, commenting, all the conversation. Just really enjoy this. So hope you have a good weekend ahead of you, and we'll see you on the next one.